What's up, everybody? Welcome to a brand new episode of MUT Tips. I'm your host, Sean Taylor from the Made Up Theater, and before we jump in, make sure to like the video down below, leave a comment, and as always, subscribe on YouTube down below to be informed of upcoming videos and live streams. Ring that bell. Now let's jump into today's topic, creating characters mashup. Do you find yourself defaulting to the same types of characters? Well, it happens to all of us, and that's because we're very much in a comfort zone when it comes to getting into characters. We have go-tos. And today's video is all about drilling characters that maybe you aren't used to doing. The first thing we're gonna do is embody non-humans. I think most of the times our characters are based in, humans. That's what we generally default to. So let's play with the other side. Let's embody animals. Let's embody objects. And bear in mind, I'm saying embody. Obviously you could do scenes where maybe it's a scene about 2 hacky sacks or a scene about 2 tea kettles. Or a scene about 2 giraffes. Sure, you can play those characters directly, but I'm actually talking about embodying their characteristics to create a new type of character. To put this to practice, we're gonna go to a black screen in a moment, and it's gonna display something that is non-human on the screen. It might be an animal, it might be an object, whatever. And then once you see that and process it, it's going to display physical. And at that point, I want you to physically embody this thing. So for example, if it displayed, slinky, and then it would say physical, you're just gonna start to physically become a slinky. So like, for example, I might go like this, It's all in my body at first, and then after that, I can also put it into my face too. Physicality can include your face. Great. And then at some point, it's gonna say vocal. And at that point, you're gonna attribute sounds to it, Try to avoid dialogue, just like put some sounds into this character that you physically have created. So like, and then after that, it's gonna say line of dialogue. And at that point, you're going to, as this character, say that line of dialogue, whatever is on the screen. Let's try this out. All right, get ready. Again, we're gonna do this 3 separate times, 3 non-humans, first being physical, then vocal, and then you say that line of dialogue. Get ready. Awesome, how was that? Did you notice any differences to the way you were acting during that exercise, Like, you could type in the comments down below, I'd love to hear it, but like a few examples are like, the physicality. Like, did you notice you were being different in terms of how you were physically embodying the non-human? So like, an example is like when we were doing like the slinky example, I was kind of doing like this. This is a motion that I don't normally do. And this can easily be attributed to just an actual human character, but it's inspired by a non-human. Another thing that you can look into is just the musicality of the way you were talking when you said that line of dialogue. Musicality means like, are you playing with like the rhythm and the tempo of how you are saying your lines, like in music? So for example, if the line was like, how are you? This is just flat, how are you? But you can play around with the musicality, be like, how are you? So it goes high and then low, or the opposite, how are you? So again, low to high this time. Lots of different ways you can play with the rhythm of the way you are conveying your dialogue. And just anything else that you notice. There's a lot of different things, like did your volume change? Was it higher than normal or lower than normal? Did your voice change? Voice is something we don't think about a lot. I love characters that are based around voices. And that could be impacted by the way you are physically embodying, in this case, a non-human. Now let's do something a little tricky, because the title of this video is Creating Characters Mashup. So let's start mashing things up. The way this will work is it'll go to a black screen and it's going to display some character. It might be non-human, it might be human, but it's going to be a distinct character. And you are going to first physically and then vocally embody that character. And then it's going to display a characteristic that may not be associated with the character that you've just created. But you are then going to start to physically and vocally be affected by that characteristic while still maintaining the character that you had just embodied. And then you are going to receive a line of dialogue that you will say as that character. To give you an example, and you can do this with me as well if you want to practice before we start, it might display wizard on the screen. That is what I'm going to be embodying. So I might start first physically and then vocally. So first I'll start physically, So my facial expressions, my action, and then I'll go vocal. So notice I'm not actually saying any words, it just sounds like sounds of efforts. And then it will display a characteristic that may have nothing to do with, in this case, a wizard. So it might say like, timid, and then I'm gonna be a timid wizard now. And then it'll display a line that I'm going to say as this character. So maybe it says like, you're behind on rent. You're behind on rent. So, like, boom. I was immediately affected by that choice, that was given to me. I combined all the aspects, the character itself of wizard, the characteristic of timid, and I said a line based in reality, and it was just a different character, maybe a character I've never done before. So let's try it out. This is just focusing more so on getting out of your comfort zone. You might come up with characters that are weird and make you feel kind of like, whoa, like that little tickle in your stomach, like, this seems weird, and usually just means that you are getting out of your comfort zone and you're doing something different. Different can be scary, but different oftentimes leads to satisfying growth. Again, we're gonna do this 3 times. Good luck. Fantastic, how was that? Let me know in the comments down below, I'd love to hear it. Because this game seems strange, right? Like mashing together 2 things that are not complementary to each other, but if we commit to it, then it feels right, and we've discovered something new, possibly about ourselves or just a new character. And that it's all about getting out of our comfort zone, because I'll admit, on stage, I am not out of my comfort zone. I feel perfectly comfortable on stage. I've done hundreds of shows before, so I need to find ways to get out of my comfort zone, and that's just by doing new stuff. Whether it's a new format, a new style, or a new character, by mashing together 2 things that I would not think go together. And that's something that might make you nervous, right? Nervousness is something that we have sometimes with the improv, but if you find yourself not being nervous, then that just means you need to find a reason to be nervous, right? I think nerves are good. And if it means challenging yourself to try something new on stage, even if it fails and it's not a success, you tried something, and it'll lead to growth. It'll lead to new discovery. So try this exercise out. Feel free to get like a word association app and just like click randomly on a noun and an adjective and just jump into a character, doing a monologue based on the suggestion that you've just got. It's a fun way to get out of your comfort zone, which is where real growth is found. And that concludes this episode of MUT Tips, everybody. Thank you so much for checking it out. I really appreciate it. Once again, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you next time for another episode of MUT Tips. Bye!